research at McMaster has been a benefit to Indigenous communities, I think, through my own work, which is community engaged and arts-based. So a lot of my work is with Métis communities, with the Métis Nation. My most recent project, for example, looks at the importance of intergenerational communication between Métis elders and youth, using what's called digital stories. So I work really closely with a community organization called the Story Center. We've trained and built capacity with Métis communities where they have worked on their own digital stories to look at what it means to be Métis, and then to sort of pass those stories down to future generations. So it's been a very exciting project. Our project was featured at the 50th anniversary of Back to Batoche Days, which is a historical site for Métis communities where we showcased within the community the digital stories and also trained community members who are interested in creating their own digital stories. So that was very exciting.
I've been working with Inuit in Nunavut for over 20 years. And also through collaborations and through students, I've been working across Inuit Nunangat, so 4 regions of Inuit homelands in Canada, as well as in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Northern Ontario. All of our projects are designed to address community priorities in research. So that has related to environmental, cultural, health, safety, land-based learning, and language priorities, depending on the community that we're working with. And the underlying goal of all the research that we do is for the research to be of benefit to the communities we work with. So according to Inuit principles, knowledge is only knowledge if it can be applied. So knowledge to action.
The way I've conducted research with community-based participatory research methods really centers the community's needs and making sure that their voices are actually heard in the research that we do. So one of the ways we've done this is with my supervisor, Dr. Chelsea Gable. She has a project right now using digital storytelling, where the participants are able to tell their story using a digital story. So about a 2 to 5 minute video where they're able to really conduct kind of their own research into themselves. And we're able to hear their voices explicitly instead of kind of through analysis and then us coding again. And sometimes our voices get lost in that. It's really important in Indigenous context as for many of us, often our voices don't get heard and they get muffled in these processes, and we're not included in these analyses.
What is harder to understand and maybe harder to identify, but is perhaps much more powerful and far-reaching, are the benefits that come from how we work together, so from the research process. So we really focus on that a lot within our team. And there's many benefits that are maybe not as tangible as some of the outcomes, but that can be much more personally impactful for the communities that we work with. Some examples of that include when we did a caribou project in Johaven, the community priority was not just to document Inuit knowledge of caribou for research purposes, but to be able to share that knowledge with the youth, with the next generation of harvesters, and to support safe travel, but also for people to support their families. So in that project, we developed it around facilitating land camps where that intergenerational knowledge could take place in context, on the land, with the caribou, in the habitat. And that was the priority for the community. So that was a far more tangible benefit, I think, in the community than the actual outcome of that research, although that was very exciting too. Some other process-related benefits come in access to funding. So when we work together as a team, the Indigenous partners that we have can access funding on the academic side that they might not be able to access otherwise. And we really prioritize co-applicants, co-leadership, collaboration in these projects so that the budgets are dedicated to people's time, that they have meaningful leadership roles in the project, And the whole way that we structure the project is receiving guidance from our community partners throughout all stages of the research.
Another way that research is benefiting Indigenous communities at McMaster is through the Indigenous Mentorship Network of Ontario. So I have recently taken over this initiative, which is funded by the Canadian Institutes for Health Research. And we were able to bring the program and the network to McMaster, and it's made up of a number of Indigenous and non-Indigenous health researchers across Ontario. And the purpose of this network is to train the next generation of Indigenous health scholars.
The last one I wanted to highlight was related to training and skills development. So there's already a lot of capacity in Inuit communities to undertake research. There's research organizations that are doing their own projects and doing amazing work in their communities. When we're working together, though, we often get expressions of interest, like we want to be able to get some training on monitoring or on facilitating interviews or on grant writing or on recording of videos and audio. And so we really try to work that into all of our projects as well. And that kind of benefit can be personal for the person who's gaining those skills, but can also be professional. It can lead to advancement in their careers. It can lead to more leadership in the community of their own research and their own projects.